Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. This happened last night around 7:30 p.m., so it was already dark outside. My friend and I, both 22 and female, were about 2/3 of the way through our 16-hour drive back home from Salem, Massachusetts. I really needed to pee, so we stopped at a rest area in eastern Pennsylvania. I usually avoid rest areas like the plague, but this one looked nice enough, and I didn't really get any bad feelings from it. When we walked in, the only other person inside was this older man, probably mid to late 60s, standing by the vending machines talking on his phone. We walked past him, across the room and into the bathroom. We were there for a good 10 to 15 minutes because she apparently wanted to pop a couple of pimples as well. When we were finished, we walked back out laughing at something. One of us had said that man was still standing there, but he was not on the phone anymore. Instead, he smiled and stared at us the entire time it took us to get to the exit of the rest area. We started running back to my car, which was about 6 parking spaces from the door, still laughing but also a little bit freaked out by this guy. We were about to hop in when I remembered my boyfriend wanted us to check my oil on the way home. Since it was such a long drive, my car had been having some slight issues at the time. I considered waiting until the next time we needed to stop for gas, but I decided to just get it over with now. Instead, as I was checking the oil, the man from before, along with a slightly younger man we hadn't seen, left the rest area and both began walking toward us. The younger one was coming ahead on the sidewalk, the old one kind of diagonally going the opposite side to the driver's side of our car. This was odd because there were no other cars past mine. The only cars I could see were on the other side of the lot, closer to the building. My friend and I looked at each other and bolted for the car doors. I realized I was still holding the dipstick, so I cursed. We had to run back over and lift the hood back up. We hurried into the car and locked the doors just as they were approaching. We watched as the younger man slowly walked past the car, staring in at us with his completely blank face. He continued walking down the sidewalk for a while before pausing for a second and turning around to come back toward us. The man, still just smiling, came within a few feet of the other door, then turned and walked past us to the other side of the parking lot. I backed out, and once I straightened the car and started pulling forward to leave the rest area, we saw the man had moved to the middle of the road and was standing there with that unnerving smile. Now he was motioning for us to stop. I drove right past him because no way was I going to do that. We watched the mirrors as both men hopped into cars on the other side of the parking lot, closer to the building. We spent the next couple of hours shaken up and blabbing about what could have happened. I'm not really sure what their intentions were, but there can't have been any good reason for them to approach us like that at that rest area. I tried telling myself maybe they were going to ask if we needed help with car troubles or something, but I was very clearly just checking the oil. It doesn't make sense why the younger man would walk the complete opposite direction from his car and go so far down the sidewalk. I'm not really sure what to make of it. Back in 2014, my partner and I decided she was going to go on birth control and made an appointment with the OBGYN at our university student health services. I took her in, and she went to her appointment while I waited in the waiting room. She came back out, and we left. Fairly standard so far. While in there, though, I noticed the man at the front desk kept staring at me, then darting his eyes away whenever I made eye contact. Fast forward to the next evening. My partner and I were having dinner together at about 8 p.m. when her phone suddenly rang. She answered, only to realize it was the man from the front desk at Student Health Services. He introduced himself as such. He went on to tell her that her STD test had come back clean. This is mandatory before you can go on birth control, which was odd because usually, they just put that information online in a secure portal. He then started asking about her sexual history and how many partners she'd had. Although she was uncomfortable answering this, she did so, thinking the front desk guy was asking for more information for the doctor. He then asked if the person she was with was her husband. When she said, "No, it's my boyfriend," he immediately pounced. He said something along the lines of, "Well, I think you're so beautiful and clean. I'll treat you better than him. In fact, I'll come over to your apartment right now." Startled and confused, she said, "Wait, what? Excuse me, that's inappropriate. Please, let me talk to the doctor instead." "Oh, I'm not at the office. It's closed right now. I'm calling you from my cell phone." "Well, how did you get my phone number?" "I never gave it to you." "Oh, I know. It was in your file. I thought you were so beautiful that I added it to my phone after I saw you had no STDs, of course. Also, I saw your address was near mine, so I'm thinking about coming over. Don't worry about your boyfriend, though. I can take care of him. I can come over right now if you'd like." She hung up the phone immediately, and we called the police and filed a report. I spent the entire night watching the front door with a baseball bat in hand. The very next day, we started a case with the school because it was student health services. They tried apologizing at first and said he was just new, but we were very firm that this wasn't just ignorance. We called the dean of the health department and told them what happened and that we were going to file a lawsuit. Needless to say, he was immediately fired and expelled from the school as well. Since he was an international student, this also meant he had to leave the country. Because we didn't want to cost our school money, and they acted swiftly about the issue, we didn't pursue further legal action after. Back in 2007 or so, we moved to a new house that had been off the rental market due to the previous tenant trashing it. There was still a blood stain on the carpet and holes in the walls, but at least they were fixing it up. We were just happy to find somewhere within walking distance of everything important. As we moved in and started living there, strange things started to happen. Underwear and bras went missing off the line. We'd keep seeing a figure walking through our backyard. Someone even moved a bench in the yard under our son's bedroom window and tried to break the security screen. We padlocked the gates, of course, but we still kept seeing this figure walking around. One night, when my husband was away on a work trip, I swore I could hear someone outside the house. They walked up to the fuse box. There I was, sitting in the dark with a 2-year-old little boy and some maniac now laughing and hitting the door. Needless to say, I called the police right away. Unfortunately, it took them a whole 6 hours to arrive. The person had already left. In the meantime, they waved it off as just a prank and did very little. Honestly, it really shook my trust in the police. In the next 3 months, we had 3 different attempted break-ins, and we just could not figure out what was going on. Honestly, being young parents, we had very little to steal. Anyway, we took some precautions, switched out our son's curtains, and had him sleep in the room with us. From then on, we were very afraid at all times, and we couldn't get a feeling of security. One night, we could hear someone at the window opening the blinds. We looked over and there was a face there. He proceeded to start slamming the glass again. We called the police while giving them a description as best we could. Once again, it took them hours to even turn up. We were chatting with them in the carport when a female police officer informed us that the light under our house appeared to be on. "What are you talking about? What light under the house?" It was a storage area we had put things in the day we moved, and we had not gone in there again ever since. We certainly had not turned on or even found a light when we went down there. The police went to investigate and basically found a nest. A bed made out of our old moving boxes with some of my underwear and bras strewn around, a stack of our son's toys, and all of our outgrown clothes. It turned out a man had been living underneath our house. The police told us to padlock the door into the storage area and left, telling us to just keep an eye out for him. The landlord ended up finding out it may have been the old tenant who had been evicted. It took me maybe another 6 months to feel safe even hanging out clothes on the line, due to the fact that it was right next to that door. Even now, many years later, I still don't like storage areas and never really feel safe around them. I was 18 years old and on my way home to California for summer break after my sophomore year of college. With a 9-hour car ride ahead of me, I stocked up on energy drinks, soda, and snacks for the drive. I left school late after dinner with friends and planned to drive all the way through the night. I was making good time and was about 3 hours away from home, which was Yuba City at the time. I was just an hour outside of Reno on a lonely stretch of road when it happened. Very suddenly, I got the urge to pee. I guess all those energy drinks I had chugged earlier came back to haunt me. I kicked myself for not stopping when I had gassed up 45 minutes earlier. I saw a sign that advertised a rest stop coming up, so I drove a few more miles to the exit and pulled in. Parked in the lot was a ratty-looking sedan, and on the other side of the lot, a Sprinter-type van. I quickly got out and jogged to the restroom before I peed myself. I was flushing when I heard someone enter, and I froze. I'm in decent physical shape and work out quite often, though I'm on the smaller side, only 5'7" and about 160 pounds. I braced myself for some real Michael Myers type-ish. When I opened the door, I saw just an average Joe-looking guy. He looked up and gave me a friendly smile, then stepped over to the urinal. I washed my hands and was getting ready to leave when he started talking. His voice was gravelly and low, so I couldn't quite hear him the first time. "You like dogs?" he asked as he washed his hands. He was wearing those coveralls that mechanics wear, and they had grease stains all over them. My creeper meter started beeping. I shot him a friendly smile and said as I left the bathroom, "Yeah man, dogs are cool." Well, apparently that was the wrong thing to say. He came out, following me through the door, very much on my heels. "I got a new puppy. You want to see him? He's real cute." Now I was freaking out. My keys were in one hand and my cell phone in the other. I called back in a shaky voice, "No thanks, I gotta get going." I was getting into my car when he grabbed the door, trying to pull it open. This dude was hella small, even though he was a few inches shorter than me. I started up the car and put my phone to my ear. What he said next made me almost crap my pants. "By the time the cops get here, you'll already be dead." With that, I kicked out at his stomach. Thank goodness it connected firmly. He let go of my door and fell back on his ass. I slammed the door shut, locked it, and screeched the hell out of that rest stop. I saw him scramble to his car as well, but I didn't stick around to watch. I took off like a bat straight out of hell. I was a nervous wreck for the next 3 hours, thinking that man was going to follow me home and finish me off. When I got home, I told my dad, who had stayed up waiting for me, what happened. He talked me out of calling the authorities. I made sure to take an entirely different route when I went back to school in the fall, and because of that, I've never stopped at another rest stop ever again. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.